Hello everyone, here we are. Today will be similar as usual. I will be working on the OpenWrt virtual machine, and hopefully I will have a OpenWrt virtual machine with a functioning internet connectivity. That is the main goal. And when that is achieved, the next steps will be the configuration of the networking, and to be honest, since I'm not great with networking, I might also look into automating the configuration of OpenWrt after the configuration is finalized. Do I need it? Most likely no. What I mean is that I don't expect that after the configuration of OpenWrt I will destroy it and recreate it. But looking at the long term, if I need to configure other network infrastructures, other infrastructures where OpenWrt will be managing the network, it may be useful to have some functioning configuration ready to be implemented. So I was thinking of porting as much as possible. I'm not sure it is possible. I think it should be possible. Porting the manual configuration I will implement to an Ansible playbook that will then be really useful in the quick and easy recreation of the virtual machine and the configuration downstream, because with OpenWrt I can reach a point where I can create the virtual machine with Terraform. I can create the OpenWrt virtual machine, but I cannot configure it. There is the whole cloud init part, and I tried to look into the possibility of using cloud init for the configuration, and that is not a thing as far as I understood. I may be wrong, feel free to correct me if I am. That means that I reach a wall that I will need to overcome somehow, and you may have noticed that I want most of my things to be automated, because as much as I like tinkering, I don't like to tinker on the same thing and recreate the knowledge from scratch every single time. So I take notes that may get outdated, but they have the whole methodology of troubleshooting any issue I faced, and even just the process of creating the notes maintains and creates a better knowledge in my head. So, without further ado, you know me, I like to rant and talk about things. We can move on. I almost messed up things on my OBS. Anyways, here we are. We have the nodes from last time that are exactly as they were last time. I've had some issues in the last couple of weeks, so I couldn't really go through the various nodes and get everything better. But this is still correct, this graph, and this is still in progress, which is still correct. After this is fixed, underneath the completion of what we did the last stream, the porting to Terraform, there is going to be the configuration part. So in here we have the empty nodes that may let me do this like this. Sometimes things don't work as I want them. And so one thing I can do right away and see what happens is so let me show this. I have a new network device. As I mentioned previously, I would receive a network card, and I did receive it, and I took some time yesterday to configure it, install it in the host and configure it, which took longer than I thought it would take. But again, I'm not a networking expert. Anyways, this will be what we can do, I think. That is something like this. One and like this, if I recall correctly. Yes. And that's it, I think. I don't think I need any other configuration in here. Just this, and we can try to recreate everything and see what happens. So as usual, documents, class, Terraform definitions. We have rapture.tf, yes. Terraform plan minus out deploy, yeah. So I overwrite it and all is good. And Terraform apply deploy. As this works, I'm also trying to think how to solve my issues that are related to sleep. I've been having issues sleeping lately, which is a new thing for me. And well, one thing I know for certain is that I have let me think how to say it. I have it could probably be an addiction, but I'm not certain, and I'm not qualified to use the term. But I do use computer, and I do let me see how to say it properly. I do not acquire, but basically I spend far too much time watching YouTube videos of things that interest me, so there is nothing too odd there, but it may be the reason why I have sleeping issues, so I'm trying to tone it down. Let's see if it goes well. So, as usual, and this is the only issue with the idea I mentioned previously, that is Terraform up until here, and then Ansible from here to the finalized configuration. There is a small step in between, because if I go like this, we can find that okay, we can find that anyways, this is the one I'm talking about. That is the IP address that I would use to reach this virtual machine, but that is an IP address that is in use already. Therefore, I will need to change that every single time. And I cannot reach the virtual machine until I change it. So I cannot apply an Ansible playbook, I think, until I change it. But anyways, I will try to figure out that as well in a second moment. Right now, I have it in the notes. The command, there it is. So UCI set network dot lan dot nope and 192 168 100. Use commit and etc init the network. Restart. So if I go IPA, I put 100. That's a mistake because it's another VM, so it will not work as intended. So 100 is the Fedora CoreOS virtual machine. It is currently named template, not because it is an actual template, but anyways. Now I should be able to connect to that VM. SSH root at 92.168.1.200. Oh yeah, as usual. That is 200, and we are in here. Perfect. Now, if I ping Google, it will likely not work. Indeed. But what I have in here is two different ETH 01 networking interfaces. Okay, and I need to go UCI, I think show network, no, network, yeah. Okay. Okay, one interface, DHCP. That shouldn't be working. Failed. Yeah, come on. And let me go back into the notes from the other day. What? Ah, yeah. Wrong day. File etc config network. So for sure we go in etc config network. Loop back. Globals. Device, interface, and interface. I think I need to somehow make this interface, no. But maybe so the thing is that this I'm not sure about things. As I mentioned, networking is not my strong suit. don't remember if it's this. Stack. Oh yeah, it's not that. It's this. Oh yeah, this most likely is something that I will need to do, but this is something advanced. I need to work first on basic stuff. Devices. Is turning OpenWrt. Yeah, the issue is that I have created the virtual machine, but at the same time I don't have internet connectivity in that virtual machine. And the secondary network interface may not be the actual solution. It will be useful anyways, so I didn't mind. And I don't want to basic configuration. Maybe this is the way to do this. This is a good thing for the future, for the Ansible configuration. This may be a really good thing. Okay, yes, I need to commit the changes, so that's good to know. Okay. Yeah, this is true. If you come from some Linux distribution or a router like pfSense, the usage of the term interface may be a bit confusing. An interface in the OpenWrt configuration must not be mixed up with a physical interface. And that's my error, maybe? It is tempting. As Unix administrator, you know about the ifconfig command, so the natural assumption is that exempli gratia config interface len does what you'd do with ifconfig. Well, this is only partially true. And I want to go and see what is this config. Yeah, there it is, config interface. To clarify things, hopefully, let's avoid the term interface and replace it with something more neutral. What we actually configure in OpenWrt could be named a connector. The configuration of a connector combines all properties that are required to attach the device running OpenWrt to a network. This includes a physical device. To avoid the term interface altogether, I'll call this a controller, and setup information that configures the controller in such a way that it allows the device to join the network. So this is not valid configuration code. Controller, option setup, option IP address, option net mask. If you already know the OpenWrt syntax a bit, you can see that I have replaced interface with connector, indeed, device with controller, indeed, and proto with setup, to avoid interface and anything related. Of course, this configuration information has an influence on the controller, and you can see the effects with a command such as ifconfig, or better EPAS ETH0. This I might actually use it. ETH0 ETH1. Okay, S is like selecting, providing the name of the network interface. But beware that this is not the complete configuration of ETH0. There may be more connectors to other networks that involve the same controller. And depending on the chosen setup, the connector configuration may have effects on other configurable items besides the controller. Okay. And depending, oh yeah, I read that already. As an example, consider IPv6 connectivity. IPv4 and IPv6 define these distinct networks. Devices with IPv4 address cannot talk to devices with an IPv6 address. Therefore, if we want our box to talk to other IPv6 IPv6 devices, we need an additional connector. Again, this is not a valid configuration code because config device LAN 6 would be, I think, no, interface maybe. Yes, interface LAN 6, option controller ETH0, so option device ETH0, option setup DHCP 6. It makes me think that I can add another interface for this device with the DHCP. I'm not sure. This configures another network connector that happens to use the same controller. Ah, yes, there it is. With a note that luckily using IPv6 does not require new physical devices, and that's my problem, as the previous connector, but uses a different setup strategy, an automation strategy using DHCP for IPv6. Therefore, this configuration does not influence the controller, but also helper processes, in this case ODHCPD. To summarize, when reading or writing an OpenWrt network configuration, keep in mind that config interface is not the configuration of a physical interface, but rather the specification of a connector to some network. Devices is usually not the name of something configured with config interface, but the name of a physical interface. I'm not really sure about this feature, but it seems that you can use dev@devname as a shortcut to refer to physical interfaces used in another interface configuration. Okay. Proto is the protocol used in the network, but the protocol used to set up the physical interface in such a way that it can participate in the network that is supposed to connect to. It's not the protocol used in, but the protocol used to set up the physical interface in such a way that it can participate in the network that is supposed to connect to. Okay. What does it mean in my case? That I need a different configuration in here altogether. And I don't understand why this is the configuration that is taken automatically. ATH1. So these two are connecting to the wrong part, because they should connect here. That's why internet does not work, as far as I understood, which may be mistaken. Hot plug, what is this? Okay, messages managing services, network basics. network configuration. IPv4, IPv6, static routes, WAN interface protocols, network scripting, DHCP client scripting. Sounds good. The default OpenWrt network stack of a typical home router looks like this. Firewall interfaces, interfaces devices, switch wireless. So the firewall are rules for the traffic between zones. Perfect. Network zone configuration. Devices and bridge connection and bridge configuration. And there it is. I have this with this. Okay. VLANs and wireless SSIDs, internal jack labels and radio labels, common vendor labels on backside of a device. Your device may vary slightly in features or numbering scheme. A minimal network interface, a minimal network configuration for a router usually consists of at least two interfaces, LAN and WAN, and their associated devices, BR-LAN and ETH0, as well as a switch section if applicable. Note that the labels WAN and LAN can mean different things depending on the context. Okay. The central network configuration is handled by the UCI network subsystem and stored in the etcconfig network file. This UCI subsystem is responsible for the definition, or better, for defining switch, VLANs, interface configurations, and network routes. After network configuration customization, you need to reload or restart the network service to apply the changes. The network service manages both wired and wireless network. With net if ID and Wi-Fi respectively. Individual interfaces can be brought up with if-up name or down with if-down name. Perfect. Where name corresponds to the logical interface name of the corresponding config interface section. Perfect. So LAN 116. Keep in mind that if up is normally enough to reload an interface since it includes if down. Note that wireless interfaces are managed externally and if up may break the relation to existing bridges. In such a case, it is required to run Wi-Fi up after if up in order to re-establish the bridge connection. So example configuration. Here an example network UCI subsystem with default settings for a TL, for a specific router, to be clear. So whatever it is. LAN BR. Okay. I don't have a name in here. Interesting. And it is the only device. And it is ETH0 and 1. In this way, in my opinion. LAN BR static. And we get this one. Config interface, no device. Option device. And just the HCP. Same. Switch. Option reset 1. Enable VLAN 1. Switch VLAN. Option pulse. Switch VLAN. Option VLAN 2. Okay. The global section contains interface independent options affecting the network configuration in general. Unique local address. Perfect. Auto-generate a new ULA prefix. Okay. Packet steering. Not required. Default 0. Use every CPU to handle packet traffic. 0 disabled, 1 enabled, 2 enabled for all CPUs. TCP L3MDev toggles net flag for VRF. I don't know what VRF is, but it's okay. Section device. The device section is optional when L2 and L3 is the same device. I make an IP on the same physical interface. Okay. Another example, enable flow control for interface ETH2. So I can have multiple sections. Check to understand this. So the name is a string, it's required, and it is almost the only thing required, I guess. L3 device name needs to match the device option of the respective interface section. Okay, so device and name, they need to match. Perfect. This instead is not needed, or better, is not needing to match with the name of the device. So it's an identifier, maybe, because here, as you can see, there is none, and I don't understand why. MAC address, overriding the default one for the device. Type, if set to bridge, creates a bridge to the given name using L2 devices listed in ports, and wireless interface assigned using the network option in the wireless configuration. Okay, so it's creating a bridge to this. If name, I don't have it, but the base L2 device required when using the Mac VLAN device type. Install the kmod Mac VLAN package if necessary. List of L2 device names, ports, perfect. Control the receive flow control, setting it to 1, enable receive expose frames, which allows the interface to signal the sender to pause transmission when overwhelmed by incoming data. This is the transmission flow control flow control. Same kind of thing, as just the opposite as the previous one. Auto neg enables, by setting it to 1, enables auto negotiation that determines whether the interface will automatically negotiate the best link parameters. Speed of the device, duplex, by configure full duplex and 0 for half duplex, and table, which has default 10, and it's only the only attribute, let's say, that has a default. And type is set to VRF. Set routing table name or number here. Okay. It doesn't say if I can have multiple ones, so that's an issue. But if I have multiple devices, I would expect that they can have multiple blocks in the configuration. Okay. Section of the type interface declare logical networks serving as containers for IP address settings, aliases, routes, physical interface names, and firewall rules. They play a central role within the OpenWrt configuration concept. A minimal interface declaration consists of the following lines. Sounds good. One is unique logical interface name. DHCP specifies the internal protocol. DHCP in this example. ETH 0.2 is the physical interface associated with this section, so it's a specific one. The Linux kernel limits the physical interface name length to a max of 14 usable characters, including the automatically added prefix that is added for some protocols, e.g. or with bridges, BR. Okay. Interface protocol may be one of the following: DHCP, PPP, PPOE, PPOA, 3G, QMI, NCM, WWAN, W1, HNet, PPTP, 16.4, AI, CCU, anything in anything. tunnel. 624, 6RD, DS Lite, L2 TP relay, and so on. Common options for the interface, that is, there is the device, L3 device names such as ATH 0.1, ATH2, Tune 0, BRLAN, etc. needs to match the name option of the respective device section. Do not specify wireless interfaces, their names and behaviors can be dynamic and unpredictable. Instead, assign wireless interfaces to bridges using the network option in wireless configuration. This will be a step in the future. MTU, override the default MTU. Okay. All bridge settings are optional. Switch configuration. 21 or 2 or later. Section switch, VLAN, section switch. Okay, there is a lot of stuff, but I'm still not clear. User guide. I was on basic configuration. Network basics, schedule task with cron, system configuration. Interesting. System configuration not handled by UCI. User configuration, web server configuration. Oh, I didn't even think about certain things such as these. And I may look into changing this. Okay, and there is something that is not configured. Okay, these are most third-party applications started with OPKG or otherwise DPK also have their own configuration method. User experienced with GNU Linux distribution will know all of this by heart. For beginners, this should be useful. Yeah. Riot plug, init tab, tab. Password, profile, protocols, resolve, etc services, and so on and so forth. That's okay. I was thinking there might be something else. But anyways. What is this? Okay, I don't need this. To be honest. Okay. Okay. For IPv, for address. Yes, this is something about DNS, but I'm not sure the first day what it is. Dynamic DNS, perfect. This is not what I'm looking for. DHCP DNS configuration. DNS server, DHCP relay, DHCP 6 server, router advertisements. Oh, Jesus. It has already been almost an hour, but hey, no steps forward either. I don't really understand, or better, I mentioned multiple times that networking is not my strongest suit. I don't want to say it's my weakest either, but it's close to weakest. I want to say. So let's take a step back. I want to say, another one. In here I have these two, and VMBR1 I'm expecting is ETH1, which is trying to connect to DHCP. The issue is that this one, or better, this device is not connected to the internet. It is this device that is connected to the internet. So maybe I could do something about it in here, in the configuration. I just don't know how. So Terraform, but added second make to the OpenWrt virtual machine. issues. Connectivity issues. We start back from 0, I want to say. OpenWrt virtual machine does not connect to the internet. The reason why it's not working is that this is a hybrid setup. DHCP, which is inside VirtualBox and is unrelated to OpenWrt. In the wild, your Debian VM would receive an IP from the OpenWrt router, and together with it, to those receive information necessary to set up a proper routing table. But in your simulation, the Debian VM has so far no direct interaction with the OpenWrt router. It does not receive an IP address from it, nor a default gateway. Okay, this is not my connection issue. Yeah, this is similar to my case. ATH0 does not have an IP address. You can remedy the situation by treating the Debian VM as if it had a static IP, so I have to bring the NIC. Okay. If your OpenWrt router has IP address, and the Debian NIC is called ATH0, otherwise changing accordingly from 2 lines to the bottom of the file, and it should work. Okay, this is not the issue I'm having, so goodbye. Beginner. I'm a beginner too. I'm trying to run OpenWrt on VirtualBox. Sounds good. And I can connect to the internet or SSH into the image. I'm following this guide in the official documentation. Following the tutorial, it could be a good idea to take a look at this VirtualBox guide. I used the VirtualBox in the past, and this may give me some hint. Following the tutorial, I reached the virtual machine settings section, where I need to LAN IP address. Okay. Why do I need it? I'm trying to create a mesh network using Batman. I don't know what that is. I know Batman, but not in this context. I really must to configure Batman on my API with OpenWrt, but to test the network, and I am trying to create them virtually. Thanks in advance. What is the first virtual NIC setting bridged? What is your internet architecture? You did not set a gateway or DNS, so you don't get internet without DHCP or those. Okay. It's bridged. Oh, wait. Maybe that is the solution. I can maybe find back this and go to network basics again, and there should be not a gateway but interface option, the various option, interface common option, device disable bridge options. What the hell is going on? Section interface. This. I need the various options. I would expect there could be an option gateway. Which, again, I don't know if it's needed. Which I don't know if it's needed. Let's go back into here. So you want to get internet without this, but not being able to SSH seems to me that you might be running host only without an IP on the network on your host machine. You don't need to reboot. Okay. And this is a 2 minutes long video that show. Okay, if config. Wait a minute. Okay, maybe I can do an if config as well. Let's see what happens. Wait a minute, I did not mean to do that. So if config of still I get error 0. H0 and H1. not too sure what's going on in here. So it's telling me to wait a minute, by the way, that I need to understand which file is opening. Yeah, network. The file I was looking into. And instead of a static IP, it's giving it DHCP. That's all. Let's start. Could be a solution. I'm not sure. Look, I can try. In case I can destroy the VM if it's needed. So basically it's telling me to not to do this. What's going on? And change this to DHCP. It's telling me. Let's try. What can happen? Yeah. etc init d network restart. Now that sometimes things don't go as intended, but in here I can still connect, and I can find that this is now 36, which is good enough, which means this is not connected anymore. But I can connect to 36. Yeah, it's okay. OPKG update, and it's now working. So I was giving it a static IP address, therefore it was so if this is the VM and this is the routing for connecting to the internet, I was basically telling it to stay inside. That's the whole issue. But right now that is great in a way, because it's not an issue. In my mind, that was already the idea. Basically, the only virtual machine connected to the internet directory is OpenWrt, and everything else is connected downstream. So now I can take a couple of notes. Connectivity issues. The second nick did not change a thing. The solution found through the help of a useful video, again from where is it? There it is. From the OpenWrt forum. Was to reconfigure the BRLAN, what is it called? BRLAN interface. Yes, interface. And let's do this to not use a static IP address, but DHCP. This ensures the OpenWrt VM is connected to the internet and everything else eventually will connect only through OpenWrt. And that is a great step forward. And as usual, I have people on Twitch spamming in the chat. People. A person that dropped in, spammed, and left. This has happened since I think the third stream. As if I had anybody watching me that could find useful that link, or that could fall for any information that is shared by this spammer. It's probably a bot. Especially given the name of the account, and it seems to be a throwaway account. But I didn't come to configure any kind of bot for managing the stream on Twitch, such as blocking things, blocking specific words, I don't know, whatever that can be done. Because honestly, currently, I don't have that much of an audience. Anyways, now what I can do is also go to 192, 168, 136, and I have this, and yeah, I don't have any password configured. More than that, because I think that maybe there is some information that is not to be shared, most likely. More than that, I need to go back into the documentation basics and actually go back to the installation, I would say, user guide, because now that we connect to, there it is, to the internet, we can go back into this kind of thing. And install whatever. This is another thing that I will need to look into. There is a script, but anyways. And the 64 microcode. This is not useful. This is interesting. This is something I will need to look into another moment. Okay, so OPKG search, I think, because first I will search MD 64, nothing. Maybe I need to give it the correct name. Nope. Let's try install and let's see what happens. Downloading, configuring. So I'm not sure, but is there a search? Configure remove flag, list, status info, find, a search. There is a search. Why didn't it find it? For this monitoring, smart mount, yeah, but first I may need to look into the expanding root partition and file system. Okay. Because if I go to hardware, I have a disk that is 2 gigabytes, but if I go df-h, I don't have it in here. Okay. Okay, this step, interesting, that is dot. Huh, interesting. But anyways, I think I will use this method. To perform an initial root expansion, you need to remove previous script flags. Yeah, but I don't plan to do it twice, to be honest. So, opkg install parted lose dup hello setup resize to fs brkd. Okay. Now this one I will copy it, to be honest. So small cell, I find expand root. So dot slash expand root. Defaults. So if I go ls minus l etc UCI defaults, those are there. Perfect. So shell tc UCI defaults 70, and now I expect that things will happen. It will take some time, but once again, it's not an issue. So let's go into the notes in the meantime. Yeah, I can find it. Given that the connectivity issues are fixed, we can move on to the basic configurations of the VM. That is configuring, that is updating and installing necessary packages, as well as expanding the root file system, given this is a virtual machine and there are no storage limitations like the ones present in the physical routers. Expand root file system. Use the script provided by the in the advanced documentation of OpenWrt. And let's see if it works. So oh, 37. I don't know why, and that's annoying, but it's okay. If I go df-h now, I have 2 gigabytes for the root file system, and if I scroll up previously, somewhere I did run, that is, it was less than 100 megabytes. So this is a good thing, and this can be closed. And now we can go back into this monitoring. So opkg install smart mon tools. Yeah, let's install it. I mean, sensors, Watchdog support. Not too sure what it is. Extra kernel entropy. Not too sure about this. While older version of OpenWrt used the Watchdog daemon from BusyBox, all new versions implement the Watchdog daemon via procd, which is the init process bit 1. Therefore, on modern OpenWrt, you will never see the Watchdog process running. Okay. What is Watchdog for? What is Watchdog for? I don't get it. I don't know if I need it, because I don't know what it does. This can be useful. this stuff. Collected a rocky notice star package. Oh, interesting. Unknown package. Thank you. So they are not package names. No, this is a package name. Are you telling me? I'll do this just to make sure, but honestly, this is odd. OPKG update. Oh, come on. Okay. Good to know, but anyways. Yes. Cut proc CPU info rep rd r minus o. Nope, I don't remember how to do this. But the and D. There are two, and let me see. I want this. No. Yes. Yeah, I need this kind of thing. I don't know. Oh yeah, it's a mistake because it would be everything before like this. I don't remember the correct thing, but yeah, I did find this. So this one can be useful. Sys class misc h random rng current none. Okay, goes minimize startup. Yeah, I don't need it, is what I was understanding. This one was already installed. This is interesting, but it's not currently needed. Yes, okay, mods to choose. What is this Watchdog thing? I don't understand. Was there something else about Watchdog? Say Watchdog. Okay. OpenWrt hardware Watchdog. It will lead me something. Oh, okay. Definitely something that's needed. Definitely something that is needed. So, pkg. Ah, yeah, another thing that I just remembered. Installing packages. After a reboot, if need to install a package, always run pkg. Oh, wrong. I will fix it. Update. First. May not be needed. Needs checking. Installed packages. List of packages installed. So this one is one. And nope. This one. Come on. Size. Platform related. My CPU is sensors. Let's write it. Hardware monitoring. Disk monitoring. And let's put some spaces so that I don't get mad. And let's see if I need to install an, Watchdog. Watchdog. So this is not needed anymore. This helped me. This is not really great, but okay. Which one? Which one? Search for this. Again, I don't understand. Maybe find. Okay, thank you. And the other one too, because I don't know which one. Makes sense. It's the same description that is there. Thank you, but I wanted more information. Which means that I need to understand what is this to choose. If I go like this and go search, I can do the same here. Oh, Torvalds. So, which Watchdog kmod should install, which is more suitable for my machine. So I can search with something like LSPCI, LS hardware, I don't know. Of course it's SUSE, but I don't care. Some information can be moved over. Overview, information, implementation, whatever. Less mod is not a great, bad idea. Less mod. Dog minus e dt. Nothing. These are the loaded modules. Modules built-in. I don't know if it's a folder, this one. It's a file. And that's it. I don't think. Thank you. OpenWrt. This may help. Okay. OpenWrt AMD Watchdog came to install. I have two and I don't know how to choose. So you tell me that I can choose. UBus. What is UBus? Okay, so I need to install something. I don't need USB stuff. It's a VM. So I need to install one of these two, and again, any one of those two seems to be alright. So apt, let's install this one because I don't know. Okay. Ubus call system Watchdog. So if not available, Watchdog, it's offline. That's my case. This could also happen when the hardware Watchdog driver is built as Kmod, as Procd tries to initialize the Watchdog before loading kernel modules. In this case, it is possible to start the Watchdog afterwards. Okay, this is really important. And it's another note to save, because list of packages installed, and I need to go back in here and take this. Hardware Watchdog starts VM, starts router if it is hanging, something like that. I will look up more details about that. Watchdog. And soon I will also end the stream, so what do we do? What do we want to write about in here? Okay, let's try to run that command. No, not this. For the time being, that's good enough. And it was something like this. Stop false. Wow. Okay, it doesn't seem to make any difference to have spaces or not. False. Okay, after the installation of the Kmod, I think I need to do something. But anyways, it seems that we are in a good moment. I need to troubleshoot. Tell me this is the only one that cares about the spaces. Nope. Ubus call system Watchdog. Maybe I need to reboot. Let's try really quickly. And I hope it stays 37. Merchandise is not at the moment to look into merchandise. This is not a nice thing, and this is something I need to write in my notes. At every reboot, the VM seem to get a new IP address. Why? Can it be changed? Yeah, it would be a static IP, but we removed the static IP for a specific reason. So, interesting. Anyways, now OPKG, no, your bus code system Watchdog offline. Okay. Stop false. No, I need to somehow ls mods grep minus e dog minus e boot nothing, so it's the kernel module is not loaded. Mod must help maybe. No, I didn't want to do this. I don't remember. ls mod. Show the status. How to load. Mod probe. Maybe. So in here it says ins mod, mod info, dep mod, and mod probe. Maybe it's mod probe. Add and remove modules. Add or remove modules. Aspects up to date. This one is this. Yeah, but I don't have a clue. Okay. There may be a need to load the kernel module installed. Look into that. For the time being, I think that is good enough. There were a lot of steps forward, and that's good enough for today. The connectivity is there for the OpenWrt virtual machine, there is a small issue here and there, but on top of that, I'm creating a structure that is solid. This Watchdog thing will be the next step, and then most likely the next part of the configuration will be something managed offline. I think as there will be information that I shouldn't share online, otherwise, some of which I already shared most likely, but in case I will fix it afterwards. Thank you all for watching, and see you next week. Bye!